Welcome to the final video of the first third of Let's Play Blasphemous.
Chapter 1, essentially. Verse 1.
Still beautiful.
We've beaten all of the main bosses, culminating in Kirsa, who was, he was consumed by flames in the prison.
I appreciate the bookends.
He died as he lived.
It's now time to go even higher.
Now, even in silhouette, that's a pretty awesome lift.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, we've been here before.
We almost failed a side quest here. It's all connected.
I believe this is where the last, Oh, no, wait. Right, it's been a while. We're due to various issues caused by the miracle, no doubt. It's been a while since we last recorded.
Curse you, miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the miracle was intervening. It was intervening to try and sow chaos into our recording session, such that when we return to these earlier areas stronger than ever before, the enemies won't see it coming.
The Azure Cyclone, which is the down hit on the 4-hit combo, is, I think by accident, is actually a really bad move. Like, throughout my 130 plus hours now that I've put into this game, I think I've managed to kill one enemy with it, because its hitbox is very small.
Oh.
I just withered away like that guy at your description of the move after I made it seem so awesome. My bad. Mea culpa.
Yeah. Now, you saw that there were 7 tiers on the Mea Culpa Shrine upgrade menu there.
Okay.
Now, but the thing is that there are only 6 Mea Culpa Shrines.
Ahora despierto de la ceniza de plata que había sido mi cuna. El milagro me llama.
Wait.
There are 6 Mea Culpa Shrines. The 7th upgrade tier is tied to a side quest that we'll be seeing in New Game Plus.
Wait, are we just going to ignore that we got another sermon there just now? Are those just so ingrained in our head that we're busy explaining game mechanics while they pop up at us?
Now, we have been seeing this several times, that it may actually be connected to a significant piece of the origin story of this world. Or at least to how the miracle manifested itself.
I did want to know how that giant fucking bell got there.
The miracle just lifted it into place.
Just a really big tower fell over. It was poorly built.
Mm-hmm.
We finally did it! We got a knot of rosary rope from this guy.
We haven't actually remember that pond over there where we got the one thing with the salt lady.
Yep.
We'll be seeing a lot more of that in New Game Plus. And we might as well turn in the knot of rosary rope while we're here.
Can I just say I like the bookends? Again, for this chapter, this verse of the LP, that we are returning to all of these earlier areas. Can this lady reach the ground yet? Have you made enough of a fish hook for her?
We're getting there. Well, I gotta say, she's apparently really good at tying these rosary mysteries one-handed.
Well, when you've got nothing but time, you know, might as well practice. Well, what is the mystery? Can we solve it? Check out the hook while DJ revolves it? Ice Lady gave us a mystery. What does it mean? What did she mean by that?
That was solved in the ARG that is no longer online.
This game had an ARG? That's kind of awesome.
It didn't. I was trying to make a joke there. I think I might have been too deadpan.
But the question is, what does happen if you translate her dialogue into hexadecimal and then reverse it backwards like it's Dark Side of the Moon? Do it, viewers!
It reveals that Paul McCartney's been dead for 60 years.
I already knew that. It just occurred to me. You didn't need to pick up the Dream Nail, like a certain other 2D Souls-like. You've had the ability to read the minds of dead people the entire time. This game has been Eldritch from the very beginning.
Penitente en el desvelo.
She's got a taller hat.
Cada culpable habéis cometido los más graves delitos contra la Madre y sus santos, contra el milagro y sus brotes. Se nos ha encomendado que acabemos con vuestro propósito. Yo, Crisanta en penitencia, os excomulgo, os expulso, os execro con la bendición de nuestro milagro del mayor dolor. Y así se borre vuestro nombre bajo los cielos.
Oh no.
I can't believe that the matriarchy is going to cancel the penitent one. So this is Crisanta of the Rapt Agony. Now, a few weeks ago, C. Jacobs, you sent me a link of what at the time you said was a gender-flipped anime version of the penitent one. I didn't want to say it at the time, but that's actually Crisanta.
Oh!
Makes sense.
Oh!
Yeah, and much like Esdras, Crisanta is also, you know, a human boss fight. Although, unlike Esdras, she has a sword very similar to Mea Culpa, and she is really, really hard, like even by the standards of this game.
Thanks for just calling that out with absolutely no context, by the way. Like, I just randomly send people gender-flipped fan art like I'm some kind of freak.
It's okay. It was mostly tasteful.
I'll have you know that not only was it tasteful, it was pretty well drawn. And now
really
I'm
was.
especially
It really
proud
was.
that it was a fan art of a cooler character than us. This is a cooler character than us. Look how tall she is.
Well, yeah, much like the Zero or the X. No, it's the X to Mega Man. You know, the X character has to be cooler.
Oh, screw it. This is Vile. We're fighting Vile right now. Like, this is basically
We really
like
are.
the final test of how well do you know your mechanics. Can you fight yourself?
Yeah, and all of those can be parried, by the way. The sword thrust that she does. Although it can be really hard to do it, especially the ones that are diagonal. The hitbox is kind of janky there.
You know, it's not janky, the soundtrack to this battle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is actually a perfect time for me to bring up. The main instrument, I guess, is something that I thought was like a distorted electric guitar. We've heard it before on several other tracks, but that is actually a hurdy-gurdy.
That's so cool. That's sick.
Not only that, it is a 3D printed hurdy-gurdy that the main composer for this game found the blueprint online and built it himself. Well, as much as you can build things, you know, by 3D printing.
You'd be surprised.
I think that might be the most indie games sentence that's ever been put together. That the developer 3D printed his own hurdy-gurdy.
And in the point in the documentary Landing Blasphemous, where he's talking about the hurdy-gurdy, the very next shot is of him playing the main theme from Game of Thrones on the hurdy-gurdy. That may be the most indie game shit you've ever heard.
They're nerds!
They are absolutely Spanish Andalusian nerds. And it's good to get reminders of that sometimes.
It's pretty obvious to me that they're nerds, given that the penultimate boss fight in this game is a shadow fight. It's an ode to so very, very many games in this genre over the years. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
And if you
perfect.
notice, a number of her attacks kind of mirror other attacks from other boss fights. Like there, that's the Warden of the Silent Sorrows shadow attack. Some of the thrusting that she does is similar to
Ours.
similar to Perpetua.
She's got cooler attacks than us.
She really does, yeah.
Oh no!
What's this? Is she really dead?
Adelante. Purgad mi alma mordida por el milagro.
Believe it or not, this is actually a very important part of the story, especially when it comes to the secret DLC ending.
I'm sorry, bitten by the miracle?
Yes. The miracle is rarely referred to in positive terms, even by those praising its power. Let's call it a quirk of translation, perhaps. So the final boss comes up immediately afterward. If Viridiana is still alive by this point, this is where she would give you the Zarabanda.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that you didn't have to wither her away to dust the entire time?
But she wanted us to. That was the whole point she came to us.
Yeah.
That was the whole
I've heard
reason
it
why.
a million times. We all justify the things we do in our own minds. You know, like the fact that you finished off that boss when you had her essentially at sword point. I don't know,
Well,
homie.
I mean, we didn't kill
I feel
her.
like
She
a
ran
true
away.
penitent one would have at least let her, get up
Very
and walk away
important.
from
This is
that.
not snow, by the way. This is ash.
En mi sueño vi vuestros pasos acercarse. En mi sueño quise hablaros y presentarme. Guardián del milagro.
This voice sounds familiar, doesn't it?
No.
Gran dolor
Yes.
del Padre. Soy las manos de piel de sangre. Soy los ojos por los que mira nuestra madre. Mas nada sé de vos. Nada que no sea vuestro frío rostro sin nombre. Que no sean vuestros callos y vuestros...
John Penitente, nice to meet you.
el luto de vuestras muertes.
Yes.
No, nada sé de vos. Solo el milagro sabe.
You refuse to use social media.
Wait, I know this. This is where he throws the wine glass and he says, "But enough talk! Have at you!"
I actually like this upcoming line better.
Deja que se duelan y en procesión marchen. Por siempre os maldigo en el nombre. Por siempre os bendigo en la muerte.
Oh my God. I love this.
Yeah, it's so cool. His Holiness Escribar. He is the voice that we have been hearing after beating every boss. We got a little lecture about something about a tree burning and then resurrecting. On a gameplay mechanic, Escribar is also the only boss in the game that attacks with more than one elemental type.
You guys, he can use the cool S against us.
Oh, he absolutely can.
I love this. It reminds me of the final boss of Dynamite Hetty. He just has an invulnerability shield, and you gotta wait it out, Buster. He's got the power of the miracle on his side.
Oh yeah, this is actually the worst, the fire attacks, just because of how they home in on you. Like the trajectory seems like perfectly calculated just to mess with you. There's also this, which I think that's wax, like similar to the laser attacks that Tres Angustias did.
Oh, batting him back at him. One of the first things
Yep.
you learned how to do. Oh yeah, that's bookended, baby.
But of course, it's not that simple. There's got to be an extra phase.
Oh, of course not. He is not nearly large or freaky enough to be any kind of a final boss in this game.
Well, no, he didn't fit the size of the sprite where the mask was opening up. That was a colossal sprite.
Now, what you didn't see there is about 3 hours of failed attempts. And at each attempt, you have to redo that first phase.
That's the stuff right there!
Oh, yes. The last son of the miracle.
It got a little be not afraid.
Oh, it absolutely did.
That's a big sprite. Those are big laser sprites.
Yeah. Again, that's the lasers from Tres Angustias, as well as that one version of the, what was her name? The laser lady that I hated. Why am I forgetting her name?
Because it's Spanish, and now it's not really the time. You were busy fighting the final boss
No,
of life.
I'm not busy fucking. Not on YouTube, at least.
You're busy.
Anyway, so
you're busy fighting essentially the final boss of religion.
Yes. So does that mean this is a JRPG?
Yes.
Technically speaking, we have a boss where we kill God, or at the very least, actually, no, we're not killing God. We're killing the Pope.
Well, if you hadn't exploited Viridiana's help, you could have done this with the power of friendship. But the sword works too.
Well, in the path where you keep Viridiana alive, she actually gives you the Zarabanda because she can no longer help you. And this is her parting gift.
And yet he's the one with some dude around his neck just for extra assistance. Who the hell is that back there? Cut that fucker out of there.
That is the titular last sight of the miracle. That is a very familiar looking face there.
Yeah, it is. It's staring at me. I don't like it.
Yeah, I cannot emphasize enough how much I intentionally handicapped myself for this final boss, because I'm essentially going into this extremely underleveled. In part to make a more entertaining video, but also because, once we get to playthroughs 2 and 3, it's difficult for other reasons, but at least you'll be a little more powered.
So I would have died to this attack 5 times. I'm glad you survived it.
Yeah, that is actually, from what I remember of this recording session, that fire attack was the one move that I could not consistently repel or block or get away from.
Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because the entire screen is covered in fireballs.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
This is like the final boss of every Super Nintendo game.
You see there?
On
that was the
crack.
Azure Cyclone. I couldn't hit him. I couldn't hit him. I was right next to him, and I couldn't hit him with that stupid attack.
You got cycled, my friend.
He wrecked shop.
Yeah.
Do you feel penitent yet after that?
Yes. I also felt pain. Lots of pain, because my hands aren't in the best of conditions to begin with. I ended up having to give like a specific routine where I would, put 1 or 2 pieces of clothing in the laundry in between attempts just to give my hands a bit of a break.
Boy, this really is the final boss saying, "Parry this, casual."
There actually is one. There's one heart, another type of platform that does allow you to. I think it does allow you to parry or otherwise swat away at those types of elemental attacks. But even in New Game Plus, what makes this particularly difficult is that because Escobar is attacking with every type of elemental magic, that means you have a limit on how much resistance you can get in with your rosary beads going into this fight, because there is no rosary bead that provides defense against everything. It's just one type per bead.
Might as well not bother. I would focus on damage beads instead.
Mm-hmm.
Make my magic have the maximum bar so that it lasts the longest against this endurance-ass boss fight. It's like the end of a Kirby game up in here. Stuff has just started bleeding and sprouting eyeballs everywhere and throwing fireballs and stars at you.
Yeah.
What is the hell on the end of that sword? That's nuts how ornate that thing is. I want to wield that thing.
Yeah, the sword in particular moves kind of like the bosses do in the GBA Castlevanias.
Comes in when it's trying to swing at you. Got a riposte, baby.
Oh,
yeah!
Great, time for phase 3.
These achievement names.
Have some blasphemia!
Yeah, this will not be a 100% run, or at least for achievements, because there's an achievement for beating all of the bosses from the vanilla game without using any bile flasks. Like, I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that.
No.
Well, how'd you do, Penitent One? After all this, what's your morality score? Red, green, or blue?
Again, remember, this is not snow, it is ash.
Habéis liberado a su santidad de su afligido tormento. Ahora camina junto a las procesiones antiguas, al otro lado del sueño.
I'm sorry, did he just
La cuna del milagro
adjust his... Never mind. It's a tightly wound package.
Yeah, I saw it too.
I mean, it's uncomfortable. Imagine having to adjust a wedgie without being able to see what you're doing. That's got to be awful.
estaba mudo en el momento de su bendito retorcimiento. Esa primera reliquia está aquí, en lo alto de la montaña de ceniza, junto al trono girado, donde su santidad fue besada por nuestro.
So in case you haven't put the pieces together yet, Escobar was turned into this magnificent tree by the miracle that then burned for days on end, but was then resurrected. And that's where the Ferris tree is. And this is at the very top of the Archcathedral rooftops. Higher than that even. So this is the Cradle of Affliction that we've been seeking.
Vuestra comunión con el primer milagro os espera.
Communion with the first miracle, because this is also where I believe it's where the Twisted One died, like when he was on the log. I don't
Wait a
know. I'll have
minute,
to double check
though.
the lore for that, but
If this is ash instead of snow, doesn't that mean that it doesn't have very much volume and thus it's pretty easy to just sink right on into it?
you may be onto something. there.
Seems so.
Huh. All that guilt weighing you down.
Actually, I think there's not enough guilt weighing us down. Maybe we could fix that in New Game Plus.
Yo pecados y pecadores por igual. No ha tenido piedad con vos tampoco. A merced del milagro estabais y a merced del milagro quedáis. Ya no
Well,
sois
can't say I tried.
un rostro anónimo,
Where's the next contestant?
voz sin gesto.
One of these days I'll get someone worthy enough.
Terminado.
And when will Amazon pick up all these returns?
And that's the bad ending of Blasphemous. That's what you do if you intentionally gimp yourself and get a bad ending out of that.
Hat just wasn't pointy enough. I gotta say, I agree with the thread's consensus that I don't know what the fuck we did or didn't do to get that ending. I don't know how we got that. Did we get it by not doing enough stuff or doing too
Yes.
much stuff or...
There is not, without spoiling anything specific, there was not enough stuff that we did to get what was formerly the best ending before the last bit of DLC retconned that and added a new best ending.
They did pull a Hollow Knight after all. My early comparison was somewhat apt then. That they decided, nah, you know what? Fighting God isn't enough. You gotta fight more God. Fight God Phase 3 if you think you're badass enough.
So Esdras and Chrysanta are not actually that relevant to the ending that we're going to get in playthrough number 2. That's different. That's but for playthrough number 3, they are absolutely critical.
Oh.
Yeah, those are some characters we haven't met yet.
Not allowed to know about Revolver Ocelot's place in the story until after the call with the president.
Absolutely.
And Big Boss!
You said that like he's gonna bust in like to a wrestling theme. Penitent one!
Incidentally, using the mosaic tool with like motion tracking is really bad in Premiere. I would not recommend it. I realized there's one character I forgot to censor named Hibrael. Don't worry, we're actually going to meet him at the very start of the next video, so I don't know, it's not that big of a deal.
Can I say that it's wonderful that it feels like the game has ended, but also that it's not over? I do feel a sense of emptiness based on how fast and unsatisfying that ending was. It's like the game itself is egging you on, saying, nah, homie, there's more to explore. There's more to see. You didn't collect all the beads, bud.
Now, the thing is that at launch, this game did not have New Game Plus. It was one of the DLC packs that added it. So if you wanted to try to, go again to get the best ending on a second
You started from
playthrough, right at
scratch,
1.0,
yeah.
you are starting over.
Uh,
Of course, given that it's this game, there are certain advantages to starting over as opposed to doing a New Game Plus. But we'll find out what that is in the next video.
Does that imply that we don't have to spend the next 5 minutes talking about how rad this game is? Because it's pretty rad, but we are going to be seeing more of it.
Yeah, what do you think of what we have seen of this game so far?
It's pretty dope.
I think it's Christianity on crack. But it's dope, but it is Christianity on crack, man. Like, this is just balls to the walls, beautifully done.
Yeah, I appreciate that they didn't hold anything back in the representation of the various things that they chose to pastiche or represent about this world.
This part that I've censored is all of the thank yous to the developer of the game with which there's the crossover DLC, which we won't be seeing until playthrough number 3. I'm doing this very intentionally because at the time, the game that it was crossing over with was very visibly publicized. And given how some people reacted to that, I'm interested in seeing your reactions to going in blind, saying, oh, it's this game. This character's in it.
Yo, the fucking Family Guy online MMORPG had a crossover with Blasphemous? No way!
It's actually a crossover with Mugen.
Okay.
So technically every universe is canon in Blasphemous.
Everyone gathers together for one big party. Bring it in, guys!
Hell yeah.
So, we met a lot of characters that I hope get developed on our next go-around. Because they didn't get much screen time in this one.
This is where I start fast forwarding because I mean this isn't as bad as say Mighty Number 9, but everyone is individually credited. Thankfully, it doesn't do what Mighty Number 9 does, where individuals or where anonymous individual backers were credited separately. Thankfully, it does not do that. Although you saw those 3 or 4 guys at the beginning who got portraits, I assumed those were like the highest donors, you know, and getting your portrait in the credits was the donation incentive. This is going to go on for a while. Any more thoughts?
A lot of folks.
People were very excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. There were 2 prototypes. There was a narrative prototype and a gameplay prototype, which were released exclusively to Kickstarter backers. I have not been able to find those files, but in case I do, you know, I might show them off. But, you know, given that they were exclusive to, you know, these 100,000 people, I doubt that, you know, I'll be able to find it anytime soon. At least not without ruining my computer with viruses.
The sheer amount of support that this game received is indicative of the era in which it was developed.
Yes.
It came out in an era where indie gaming could flourish on places like Kickstarter, and it would occasionally produce absolute gold that wouldn't have been able to have been made otherwise with this level of like complexity or depth, attention to detail even. Like, so, you know, thanks to all of these folks that it takes an hour and a half to scroll through. Appreciate it.
On the one hand, this was after the likes of Mighty Number 9 and Yooka-Laylee, but on the other hand, this came out a couple years after Bloodstained. So who knows?
I would say that the game was worth the development time and effort.
So you can see how slowly this normally moves. Also, I really like your username, Wasted Weresheep of Sin.
Well, that didn't feel very conclusive.
I'm not entirely sure why the bad ending has a post-credit scene, but it does.
Love the G string on the twisted one there.
That was the consequence of the true consequence of the bad ending was they had to cover up the twisted one.
Yeah, if you beat it in half an hour or less, he's wearing less clothing.
Yes, exactly. That would be such a great twist on the Metroid completion rewards. It's this horrifying and pitiable figure that accidentally started a religion and have him do a striptease. Well, we have completed our first of 3 playthroughs. Next time we will start New Game Plus, which has a special name that I won't reveal yet. This being Blasphemous, there are advantages and disadvantages to New Game Plus.
Christ.
Wrong universe. This is the Miracle.